We're in the business of changing the industry one prehistoric animal model at a time to bring in the very best science we can to interpret the fossil record in a way that's never been done before.
It's a real collector's model because it just has so much science behind it.
I'm following the evidence to create a life appearance that should be accurate.
What we've got to do is then use the software to get to a point where we can get it out and print it.
So we have a perfect model that looks visually spectacular, but of course that it is scientifically accurate.
Designed in the UK, developed in the UK, using cutting-edge technology, this is Everything Dinosaur Evolution. Hi, my name's Mike. I'm one of the owners of Everything Dinosaur, along with my partner Sue. Everything Dinosaur is a mail order company based in the United Kingdom, and we've been around since 2005.
Everything Dinosaur is based in Middlewich in Cheshire, where there are no dinosaurs at all, but we supply all over the world. We supply prehistoric animal and dinosaur models, collectibles, museum quality models, limited editions, special edition models. There's an awful lot of people that have a passion for dinosaurs and a love of earth sciences.
We can see the type of models and figures that are out there at the moment, but we've always felt that things could be done in a better way. Things that could be done to help really reflect the paleontology, to really get across the geology, to depict dinosaurs and other prehistoric animal models as close as we can get to the living representation of the animal. And that's Everything Dinosaur Evolution. The idea is that we're going to create a community of prehistoric animal models based on the very best science that we can, and that's a challenge in itself because no one's ever seen a living, breathing, non-avian dinosaur. Each set of figures will represent animals from a specific geological formation. The first set of figures are all from the famous, iconic Hell Creek Formation of North America. The idea being that we create a group of prehistoric animal models that are ideal for displaying together. Designed in the UK, developed in the UK, working with a factory team who share our values, share our principles, and then sold to the world. So we set about forming a team of people who are passionate about prehistoric animals, but also dinosaur model collectors too. Most of the team are based in our local community. Even the packaging itself has been designed by a local company. An important role for us was to find the right paleontologist. We wanted someone with a proven academic record, but also someone capable of being able to communicate quite complex technical issues, to the design team, but also to share their passion for prehistoric animals with a wider audience, the public and the model collecting community.
I'm Dr Dean Lomax. I'm a paleontologist, author and science communicator, and my role with Everything Dinosaur Evolution is as a paleontologist to make sure that these models are scientifically accurate and as up-to-date as possible. I was one of those people who always wanted to be a paleontologist, and now I've been working in the field for, at this point, 17 years this year professionally. When Mike and Sue originally approached me, I was massively excited by this. And immediately the first kind of dinosaur or prehistoric animal they wanted to go for was kind of starting big and bold, and it was, of course, T-Rex, king or queen of the dinosaurs. One of the big things I used to have growing up, as you can imagine, was a room and boxes full of dinosaur toys and models and things like that. And as I got older into my teenage years, I remember becoming very particular about the models that I'd have. I always wanted to strive for kind of scientific accuracy. I wanted to be part of Everything Dinosaur Evolution for various different reasons, primarily to make sure that we have a brand that is scientifically accurate, that it has leading researchers involved, leading scientists involved, leading illustrators as well, and that we're literally looking at all of the academic research that is published. The Everything Dinosaur Evolution range will unite all these prehistoric animals with the model collecting community for various reasons. Primarily, these models will be the most scientifically accurate prehistoric representations of animal life and everything that are commercially available on the market.
The design and development process, wow, it's been an amazing journey. And I don't think there's ever been any range of prehistoric animal models made quite as meticulously as the Everything Dinosaur Evolution brand. We've got an amazing artist who has got an ability to imagine these creatures as living, breathing animals interacting with their environment.
My name is Bob Nicholls. I'm a professional paleo-reconstruction artist, which means it's my job to reconstruct the life appearance of prehistoric animals from their fossils. When I was approached by Mike about this project, I was overjoyed. It's something I'd like to have done my whole career. I wanted to be a part of the team because I'm a fanatic about prehistoric animals and dinosaurs. It's been my life's work to bring them back to life, so to work with the team on this model has been a bit of a life dream for me.
My name's Glen Southern. I am technically a digital sculptor, but I spend a lot of time in academia. So I'm a senior lecturer at Liverpool John Moores University, and I went to that late in my career because most of my career I've been in the creative industry. Dinosaurs is a mad passion for me in terms of designing them, understanding the anatomy. And as much as I love dinosaurs, commercially I hadn't done that many back then. I'd done a lot of dragons, so I worked on some of the early Dungeons and Dragons projects. I worked on the second Dungeons and Dragons film. And all my dragons and all the creatures I've done over the years have always been anatomically correct. So obviously, and obviously a dragon doesn't exist, but it's based on real life anatomy. So it's actually the science behind it. And obviously we've got Dean, who's obviously a very renowned paleontologist. It's the act of designing it before it even gets to me in terms of the illustration side of it, and that's where Bob comes in. And then there's me where I take that, the information, the science behind what we're doing, the full illustration and the design from Bob, and then we kind of make it come to life in terms of physically 3D. So really what we've got to do is then use the software to get that to a point where we can get it out and print it. We quite often make a digital armature, and that's basically a framework or a base frame, and that gives us the length of the bones, it gives us the length of the tail, the size of the head, before we ever do any detail. It's called blocking out. And that underlying armature can quite often be very much linked to a skeleton. So we're emulating that with the first armature. And then we start on the detailing, and then we start blocking out the musculature. And then you go for the final bit, which is the surface detail, and that's where it gets really complicated because there isn't actually that much evidence of the skin for dinosaurs.
Seeing the team come together and watching these models literally come to life in our hands now, actually having the physical models of them has really been quite something. We also wanted these models to match up too, so which is why we've got those bases. All those bases will have to be slightly different, but they also need to be very similar at the same time, so that each of these models can be lined up, or they could go together kind of side by side, that sort of stuff too.
By using those display bases in that way, we can imply behaviours, we can infer how the animals might have interacted with each other, and that's really important from a collecting viewpoint. You've got a reason for putting these animals together because it's a community and they're interacting as a community.
With prehistoric life, often we kind of forget that they were living animals. Going into a museum and looking at a skeleton, you kind of think, okay, great, that's a wonderful dinosaur skeleton or any other prehistoric animal. But actually, if you think about it, that fossil was found, let's say perhaps in a remote location, middle of nowhere, let's say, I don't know, the Sahara Desert. Somebody has found that fossil. It was probably encased in rock, then it's been taken back to the museum. It's been cleaned away, all that rock's gone away. You reveal the skeleton, then scientists have taken years to study it, and then eventually it goes on display. So I think using evidence of behavior in some extraordinary fossils that we will incorporate within our models, within Everything Dinosaur Evolution, but also again utilizing behaviors of modern animals and sort of living analogues as well, think birds and dinosaurs, looking at various different behaviors that we see across various animals and using them and popping that into our models as well, so it gives them more character.
The model will have a set of 5 cards, and they actually tell the story of how we actually came up with the concept of the idea for the model, and how we all work together with the science, the design, the coloration, the actual manufacturing, the 3D model, and how we then told the story of the model from conception to the actual finished article. There'll be a founder's edition of the model, and this will be maybe the first models that are off the production run, and they will have additional cards, special cards that will have additional information for those that are involved from the beginning with us on our journey for how we design the model and how we move going forward. One of the things we wanted to do when we looked at our range of models is get away from more single-use plastic and use more recyclable packaging. So we're looking at the alternatives, which could be anything from using recycled paper pulp. We've even looked at using bamboo, seaweed, recycled wheat, anything that moves away from plastics and is friendlier for the environment and can be recycled. We've tried to ensure that our packaging is actually different from other models that are out there. It's a real collector's model because it just has so much more information, so much science behind it. There's information on the area where the animal was found. There's information on everybody that's been involved in the project and how we work together. So our packaging is a green colour. It's actually British racing green. It's a quality colour for a quality product. Integral to the design and the brand and the box is that we actually use a hexagon. It's one of the strongest shapes in science, and it also shows part of all of us working together as a team where we're different parts of the hexagon, different sides if you want.
By working with our customers, we can take on board their views and opinions, and they can help us decide where we go next. So you might have 4 models from the Hell Creek Formation, but which part of deep time do we explore next with this model range? Do we look at Upper Jurassic, Morrison Formation? Do we look at Chinley Formation, looking at Triassic dinosaurs and prehistoric animal models? Where do we go? And it's having that dialogue with the customer base that allows us to shape and direct the Everything Dinosaur Evolution brand. In addition, to use things like 2D barcode technology to give the collecting community access to the people who actually make the models, to really build that two-way link between the people who make the models and the people who buy the models and collect them. We're in the business of changing the industry one prehistoric animal model at a time. This is Everything Dinosaur. This is Everything Dinosaur Evolution.